Hey guys, welcome to The Strong Young Man. Life is unfair. People don't get dealt the same cards in life. But similar to poker, you don't have to have the best hand to win in the long term. You can win more with a terrible hand than someone with a good hand, provided you make the right choices at the right times. Don't get caught up on the hand that you are dealt. Make the best with what you have. This is the key to happiness. Happy people don't have the best of everything, they make the best of everything. The book of Job and Ecclesiastes shed some wisdom on this concept. They both serve to emphasise that life isn't fair or predictable. Good people die tragically, and horrible people live long and prosper. Life does not work in the way that you think it does. The best way to live is to accept that not everything in your life is within your control. You should enjoy the good times as they come, the simple things. And when something unfair happens, do not change your outlook on life. The world is still a great place to live in. The problem with a lot of people coming into adulthood is that they are being taught from a very young age that everyone should receive the same outcomes regardless of natural ability or effort. Some practical examples of these appalling practices are that some leagues do not keep count in junior sports matches in order to not upset the children. This doesn't prepare children for when they make it to the big time. It only sends the problem of accepting that life isn't fair further down the line. Also, participation medals are given to everyone in some competitions, regardless of their natural ability. This inflates the currency of the award. If everyone gets an award, how do you reward the ones who work harder and are more successful? It's so wrong to teach children this. Life isn't fair, and children need to have a realistic understanding of this from an early age. They need to be taught that their reward must be earned and not have it handed to them. A parent's job is to develop their children so they are equipped with the means necessary to transition through the various stages of life into a mature adult. This responsibility extends to teachers and anyone else with a vested interest in that child's well-being. In the early stages of life, a parent is given full access to mould their child into who they want them to be. At 5 years old, the child will be exposed to external social circumstances. If a parent hasn't developed their child to the point where they are equipped with the means necessary to transition into this phase of their life, they will have lost their chance to teach them these lessons. The child is ill-equipped and is now required to learn these lessons from teachers and peers. People who don't love your child aren't going to be as forgiving, patient and understanding towards a 5-year-old who acts like a 2-year-old. Other children will reject the child from the group, rendering them socially isolated. You are not helping your child by protecting them from experiencing the ups and downs of everyday life. When these neglected children turn 18, they will have to venture out into the real world. They will be so far off the mark, and this will unsettle them. They have spent 18 years learning a false understanding of how the world works. They will get a massive reality check when they enter into the workforce. If you are young and you have been taught to think that life ought to treat you fairly, then you are deluded. The world is not fair. You start from the bottom, and if you don't understand this by 18, then you are even further behind in life. Unfairness and hardship are good forms of pressure which can yield great personal development. It can be used to motivate greatness and teach people that they must work hard for what they have. If you do not work on this, you will not be able to progress through life as fast, because you will operate under the understanding that someone somewhere will make life fair for you in order for you to not have to work as hard. If you still operate this way, then you need to uproot your belief system. Life is not fair. Understand that equality of outcome is not possible and is actually undesirable. I will unpack this at length in a future episode, but essentially, equality of outcome is the ideal of a communist society. It is very hard to maintain a truly communist society because the more the society moves from a socialist to a communist regime, the more their people will try and resist that dictatorship. People become resentful and will eventually turn against their own government. Instead, we should embrace capitalism and continue moving towards equalising the opportunity that everyone gets, and hope that they work hard to capitalise on these opportunities. Here are some examples of how life is unfair that you need to understand. Almost 80% of the world's wealth is owned by 10% of people. This is known as the Pareto distribution. This hardly seems fair, but there is actually not much we can do or should do about it. What you have to understand is that these people represent the law of creative production, where very few people make up almost all of the output. If you look at creative production in any domain, artistry, novels sold, number of companies generated, number of goals scored in sport, number of compositions written, or any other thing where the fundamental underlying measure is human productivity, what you find is that a very tiny percentage of people produce almost all the output. This is also known as the Matthew effect of accumulated advantage. Understand that if some supreme power took all the money owned by all the people and spread it out evenly over the entire population, within 2 years all the wealth will have redistributed back into the hands of the people who were originally wealthy. We see this happen in Monopoly, and it is the same in real life. This is because people's net worth is attributed to people's net work, and also how clever they are at generating habits around holding on to money. The habits that develop these positive or negative feedback loops will continue to be present, and hence nothing will change in the long run. If we want to live in a society that allows creative human production, we should expect these large disparities in creative output. If we want to uphold equality of opportunity, as well as cultivate domains of human innovation, we do need to make sure that this Pareto distribution does not become too large. This is why social security works so well, as long as it does not become as extreme as communism. Another manifestation of the Matthew effect of accumulated advantage that is useful to know is that if you are successful at one thing, you will get more opportunities. More things will come your way. This is another reason why life is unfair. The lucky and talented become greater, while the unfortunate get stuck at the bottom. Each good thing that happens to you increases the likelihood of more good things happening to you. This is an important concept to keep in mind. The return on this is non-linear. When you start putting effort into improving yourself, you won't see much return initially. But eventually this improvement will present you with an opportunity that will open more doors. And eventually it will snowball into something more than you could ever believe possible. It all starts with cultivating these good habits and working on yourself while you are young. Final thought from the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 29, from where the Matthew effect of accumulated advantage came from. To everyone who has will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Thanks for watching today's episode. In episode 13, I'll talk about why you should think before you speak. Subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when it drops. Catch you then.